everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. I'm here today with who appears to be, is that Jason Voorhees, the famous mass murderer from the Friday the 13th movies? It's the goofball from the UK, my buddy Giles Tiger Thomas. This episode brought to you by the Tiger and Rascal Show. Where can you see that, Giles?
On YouTube, just head to Rosie Rascal's channel. She's got two channels, which we've got to decide on one, but we've got 3 episodes up so far, and I'm working on episode 4, so that should be up by next week. But yeah, check it out. Just put in search Tiger and Rascal Show or Rosie Rascal, and it should come up. But yeah, so it's really good fun. Yeah, cool.
And the last episode has her full posing routine from the Tampa Pro, yes?
Yes, it does, yeah. And there's, what else is in episode 3? There's loads. Yeah, there's my interview with her as well at Tampa and some other stuff and some silly stuff. And we're going to go back, next episode is going to be some stuff from the Arnold Europe and the Olympia, and we're going to go back to more training, and we want to put things like NLP and some more diet and more kind of giving information. So obviously there's been so many shows the last few weeks. We've kind of been putting all that in. So I've been trying to catch up with all the Tampa footage and kind of that documentary style video stuff, which I think people like. I know I like it. Yeah, I mean, and also I put some footage as well from the contest where Josh Lenartowicz, can never say his name, and Max Charles. I put some of the judging footage up there as well. So yeah, it's a good mix of stuff. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoys it.
Oh, yeah, so far so good. They're very entertaining. You got different things going on.
Thank you.
All right, so we're here to talk about a show that's actually happening Friday for some reason, not Saturday. This Friday in Kuwait City, Kuwait Pro, and it's this year. It's not going to be an open show, oddly enough. It's 212 bodybuilding and men's physique, pro men's physique. Any inkling why they didn't go with open men this year?
I don't know, but last year, you know, he didn't charge for any tickets. I know Beta's got a few quid, a few bucks or whatever you want to call it.
Quid.
But he, yeah.
What the hell's a quid?
Yeah, pound, yeah.
I believe they're like an octopus, aren't they?
Yeah, that's a squid. No, it's similar to $1, just not worth as much.
Okay.
But yeah, last year he put on this amazing show, brought all the athletes over, and I'm sure footed a lot of expenses and a lot of costs, obviously, with the prize money. And he didn't charge for any tickets. He gave all the tickets away. So, I mean, I've only briefly met Beta once at the Atlantic City Gym in Vegas.
Yeah.
Is it the one where everyone goes to? You know, all the.
I'm not even sure. What's it called?
Yeah, it's where
City Athletic Club.
Yeah, we went there and Beta was there and everyone was training. I mean, Rami actually stole my rear delt machine, which I gave him a real glare when his back was turned, you know. But yeah, so yeah, there's no open. I'm surprised he did men's physique, but actually I put something on the MD forum about 6 months ago, and I was saying I hope it's not just kind of a muscle factory where it's just they kind of get guys at the oxygen gym and it's all about getting them bigger. You know, I said, I wonder if they can bring in guys with aesthetics. And it was around, and then I was kind of proved wrong because it was around the time that, actually it was about a year ago now, when Rowley came into the Body Power Pro last year, and he brought that waist in, and I was like, actually, these guys kind of know what they're talking about. But, and then someone on the MD forum actually said, you know, actually, he doesn't just get guys and kind of make them huge and freaky. He actually does a lot of men's physique guys as well. So there's a real variety there. So I'm quite glad he's doing that category, even though I'm not a fan of the men's physique myself, you know. Right. So, yeah, I think, but talking about this 212 show, I mean, for me, this lineup is as exciting, if not more exciting, than the Olympia. I know you haven't got Flex Lewis, yeah, but I mean, let's go through them anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the lineup and I was pretty surprised at the quality, the depth. I'd say it's probably better than the Arnold Classic 212 lineup was earlier this year.
Absolutely.
You know, we'll go through the guys, but I mean, just throwing out some big names here. You got Ahmad Ashkenani, who's been runner-up to Flex Lewis, and he won the Arnold earlier this year. You got Jose Raymond, who's been one of the top 212 men even before when it was a 202. He's been up at the top for many, many years. You got Ronnie Raquel, who's done well. He won a couple shows this year. Milan Sadek, he's a Czech Republic, 24, 25 years old.
Yeah, he's in his 20s.
Won a show, the Charlotte Pro earlier this year. Sean Clarita, I believe he won a show earlier this year too.
Giant Killer.
Giant Killer. You got your good friend Ricardo Correa, the Rude Boy, also on a streak. Just won again in Prague last weekend. You got the new guy from Iran, Hadi Chupan, who very narrowly lost to Flex over in Korea a couple weekends back. And I'm not familiar with some of these other names. You got, I don't know if you know who any of these guys are. Jafar, Ali Akbar, Ghaffar Nezad Azizi from Iran. Sanad Al-Sanad, I don't know where he's from, doesn't say. Another Ahmad Safin from Jordan. Manuel Canadias, who we just saw compete in Prague, and
he was good. He was good.
Barcelona too. Mahmoud Irmak from Turkey. Classic look to him. Classic bodybuilder. Who's this? Zoran Kolevsky from Macedonia.
He did Prague last week. He's actually got a really nice physique, actually. Beautiful shape.
Bola Ojex, I've seen a few times before from Nigeria. Yeah, so 14 men and really strong lineup. So who would you like to talk about first in this group?
Well, I see this as a contest of the most exciting bits is, for me, it's the first three and who's going to make up 4 to 6. I see it as almost like two separate contests. I see it as a fight for the first three. For me, if they're all turning up on, which I'm sure they will, it's going to be Ahmed Ashkenani. Obviously, he's on home soil, and he's the number 2 behind Flex Lewis in the Olympia. You've got Hadi Chupan, this new guy that is absolutely impressive. When I saw pictures on Instagram of him a few weeks ago, because he had problems with his visa, he was supposed to be doing the Olympia. He qualified for the Olympia. I think he might have won an amateur Olympia like Ramy did that one year in 2012, which gave him an invite. And I just assumed by the pictures, I thought he was an open. I couldn't believe how big he was. And then when I heard he was doing Korea, and I was like, oh, they must be doing an open class. It's like, no, he's 212. So that guy, like I said, there was a bit of controversy for some that, with his fans kicking off and obviously coaches and people going crazy, but saying he should have beat Flex Lewis because Flex was maybe at 90%. So with Hadi, he's carrying a lot of muscle. He's got a lot of detail. He doesn't really have a weak point. I've seen some pictures where maybe the stomach was starting to bulge a little bit, but it seems to be par for the course with a lot. Ahmad has got a bit of, sometimes in some poses and his readable bicep, he lets that stomach go. But sometimes when these guys are so thick, you've got Jose as well. Jose, I personally had beaten Ashkenani at the Olympia. For me, he looked. I had no argument with Ahmad coming second, but personally, I would have preferred Jose to be second. So you've got a really tight race there between those three guys. Now, Ashkenani, for me, I think I've got a feeling he's going to be better than he was at the Olympia because I don't think he was at his best at the Olympia. I still think he was holding water, especially on the first day, the judging, where we were there on the Friday. I think he's going to come in absolutely bang on. Plus, he hasn't had to travel. He's on home soil. He's had a break since the Olympia. He's going to be absolutely bang on for this. So I think, honestly, that top three for me, Ashkenani, Chupan, and Jose, I think is going to be. It literally could go any way between those three guys, and I don't see anyone really threatening that top three. What do you think, Ron?
No, I agree totally, and I just want to say. A lot of people will talk crap if Ahmad wins just because it's in Kuwait and he's from Kuwait, just like Ramy won last year, the Open Kuwait. But I don't think people realize how much more conducive it is to peaking properly when you're right there at home. He's good. I don't know how far away he actually lives from the venue or anything, but this is his hometown. He's got everything, his gym, his food, his own bed, it's his environment.
No stress.
And when these guys are, these top three guys, they're very, very close. I think you're right. I think it's going to be very, very tough battle between these three guys, and it's going to probably come down to a point or two separating all three, I bet, in the end. And something like that could definitely work to his advantage, where he's on his home soil, he's in his own environment with everything and his own support team around him to help him do everything that he needs to do. I talked to Jose. The interview's up now, and he says he's got an advantage over these guys because he typically gets better if he does multiple shows as the shows goes on, which is the opposite of what we see with most guys.
Well, Jose in 2012, he pulled ahead of that was the year when Eduardo Correa beat him at the Olympia, and then he came over and he did the British Grand Prix and he did Prague, and I was at both of those shows for MD, and Jose pulled ahead of Eduardo at both those shows. He pulled it. He went. Basically, they swapped third and fourth, at that show. And you're right, Jose does get better. He does get better.
And he's got a trick up his sleeve. Is that Rami picking him up from the airport today, and Rami is hooking him up with all his food, so all his meals are taken care of. So he's going to have some yummy anabolic chicken to get him through the couple days.
I want some of that.
Yeah, he said he wants some. I'd like some of that. Hadi, I don't know much about him, but I know you're close to Flex, but objectively, when you looked at those photos, did you think it could have gone either way? Did you think there was an argument could have been made that Hadi should have beaten Flex over in Korea?
Absolutely. No, it could have gone either way. And it's one of these things. It's like I spoke to a friend of mine and he was saying, they'll never let him beat Flex at a post-Olympia show because he's Mr. Olympia. He's the Olympia champion. He's a representative. And I said, yeah, but no, that's got nothing to do with it. It's to do with who's the best on the day. I mean, if Flex messaged me and he says, look, I know I wasn't at my best. He says, but I feel like my lines were good enough to still pull off the win. Yeah. So the thing is, you had Flex, you had the Hadi fans posting pictures of Flex in his worst pose and Hadi in his best pose, and you had it kind of vice versa with the other. So it was kind of difficult to, you had someone maybe with his stomach hanging out like Hadi, and then Flex was in his best pose. So it's difficult. It is really difficult unless you're there. And obviously, the people that seem to be kicking off, obviously, with the Hadi's fans, and I don't know whether his friends were kind of the best, most objective. I mean, I don't know. I think he just, no one saw this guy coming. These some of these 212 guys. I mean, he has got so much muscle. He's very complete. He's I wish he'd done the Olympia. I really wished he'd had his visa sorted so he could have done the Olympia, because I think it really would have. I mean, he probably would have been top 3. I mean, he's that impressive. Yeah, I mean,
when I was looking at the comparison pictures with him and Flex Lewis, I found it very hard to believe, like you, that he was 212 pounds or less. I mean, the legs were just monstrous. He was so wide. He reminded me of an Ashkenani, but with better legs.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's what Ashkenani really has over these other 212 guys, is that shoulder and back width that they don't typically have when you're 5'3", 5'4", 5'5".
I'd be interested to see Ashkenani with some more condition in his legs, because he was holding water at the Olympia. That's why I had him in third, and I had Jose definitely ahead of him, because for me, he, the thing is, the 212 guys, they should be in condition, especially when they're carrying that much muscle. So I think Ashkenani's really coming not just for a win, but a clear win. Yeah. And I think especially now he would have seen this Hadi compete, and Jose, obviously, he's hungry to kind of pull ahead. I think it's going to be a real dogfight, this one. I'm really excited to see that. I think the crowd's going to be going crazy for this one. When I heard they were just doing 212, I was a bit disappointed. But now I've seen the lineup, I actually think I would prefer to see, because we've seen all the other guys at the Arnold Europe and Prague and the Olympia. And I think, with some new, like this new face that literally could upset and win, Hadi Choopan, it's going to be a really exciting show. So, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for this one.
One last thing about Ahmad Ashkenani. I mean, do you see improvement in his legs from last year or not?
No, I didn't. No, for me, I said this at the wrap-up at the Olympia we did. For me, he was more impressive. Well, it's like someone said to me, he had the element of surprise last year. Like maybe this Hadi had at the Korean show. Cut it really, you had that shock factor, because these guys, come from nowhere, and it adds so much excitement. But for me, Ashkenani, he stood out more last year. I mean, saying that, I didn't have him second last year at the Olympia either, but right. Yeah. I do think I've got a feeling he's going to be his all-time best for this show. I really do.
So that's most likely our top 3 right there. You could probably put some good money on that, guys, if you're going to gamble on the show. And 4th, 5th, 6th, I think you're going to have to go with the big names here. I mean, Ricardo's tough. He's a very tough competitor. Yep. If one of those 3 guys is off for any reason, it's not inconceivable that Ricardo could slip in there too. Ricardo, and did you see in Prague? Did you see a big improvement as far as the midsection control, and he got the distension problem down from the Olympia?
I would say it was 80% better.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw that there was a one side tricep shot where you could still see there was a bit of, but it was a lot better. And it was a readable bicep shot. And he'd obviously got that fullness because his arms and his shoulders were popping and everything. Yeah. He wasn't like dry shredded, but he had a really nice level of fullness and condition for me. So massive improvements. All his front shots, the stomach was flat. The side chest, the stomach was flat. So I was not surprised because I said to him, I said, look, mate, I said, if you get your stomach sorted, you know, this was speaking to him after the Olympia. I said, you get your stomach sorted, I said, and you will win Prague. I said, I can't see anyone really pushing you for that one. But I think 4, 5, and 6, it's going to be between Sadek, Ricardo, and Raquel, possibly substitute Raquel for Sean Clarida. Now, I spoke to Ricardo, going back to Ricardo, I spoke to him last night, and he sent me a picture because he was actually on the plane going to Kuwait. And I said, have you got any official statement? I'm doing the Ronline Kuwait preview tomorrow night. And he said, his words, he said, tell him that Black Hulk is looking to pull ahead. Yeah, he's looking to redeem himself after the Olympia. And what he wants to do is he wants to pull ahead of the guys that possibly he feels should not have beat him at the Olympia. Now, that tells me that he's acknowledging that his stomach pulled him down to 10th, because I honestly think Ricardo could have been 6th. I think he could have been four spots higher. I think he could have beat Milan Sadak, who got 6th.
Sure.
I don't think he'd have beaten Derek Lunsworth. I think Derek Lunsworth was too awesome.
Yeah.
I think he could have. I think he cost himself 4 places, but he was happy with 10th at the Olympia. I said, how are you feeling? He says, I'm buzzing. He says, I've just won 3 pro shows on Chicago, Vancouver, Prague. Right. So, and Ricardo, he never slips up. He's going to be on. And like you said, if one of the other guys in the top 3 slips up, you know, especially coming fresh off a win, you know, potentially he could squeeze into like a top 3 spot there, maybe squeeze in 3rd. But I think the 4, 5, 6 is going to be, Sadek, Ricardo. Ronnie Raquel was really starting to fade. I don't know whether you saw the pictures from Prague. To me, he looked like he was cut. Sometimes Ronnie Raquel gets better and better and better, and other times he just you can see his body's had enough. What do you think?
I mean, I've seen him 3 times this year in person compete. And I thought he looked great when he won New York Pro. He beat Clarida narrowly, and you know, an argument could have been made that Clarida should have won that one. They were neck and neck. I saw him win Toronto a couple weeks later, and I think he looked his best in the spring. He sort of faded off. He doesn't seem to be able to hold that combination of fullness and that crisp condition as the year goes on, and most guys can't, I think, and especially where Dexter being an anomaly, I think, especially with older guys, and Ronnie's over 40 now. It's tough. He's been peaked out. He's been peaked since May. Yeah, so it's been a long season already for this guy. We're already into October. Yeah. So.
I tell you, I mean, I'm really consistently impressed with Sean Clarida. I looked on his Facebook today, and he was 9th at the Olympia, and he was disappointed with that because he was I thought he was one of the guys, like out of Derek Lunsford, you know, Ricardo, Clarida. I thought he was one of those guys that could have squeezed in the top 5. And in the end, at the Olympia, it was Derek Lunsford. Yeah. But Clarida is one of these guys that he's like Ricardo. You know he's going to come in improved every single show. And I've seen some pictures today, and he looks sensational. I mean, he really wants to sort of get a good placing here, maybe pick up some decent prize money. But Clarida, he's absolutely. I think it's safe to say he's going to be top 6. But Sean, I mean, when he won Dallas, I mean, people forget. Sean's actually always the argument I use when guys step out of the 212 or maybe go back to another federation or that say, oh, well, I'm only 180, I'm 190, and how can I compete? These guys, they're like Jose, you know, they're bang on Flex Lewis, they're bang on 212. But, you know, with Sean, I know he's a little bit shorter, but he's one of these guys that has just managed to just keep getting bigger and better and better. And I mean, he posts on his Facebook his progression over the last 5 years. Every week he posts them. And you just know that kid is just going to keep improving. I mean, his readable bicep, and I mean, he lacks nothing in size next to any of these guys. He's got big, full muscle bellies. he's so impressive. He's just, he really is. And he is only like, what, is he 175?
He's around 175, 180. But I think he's about 5 foot even. I want to say 5'1". And Sean, I'm sorry if I'm making you sound shorter, but I'm doing it to make you sound bigger. So
yeah,
it's for your own benefit, guy. Don't get mad. But yeah, lacking nothing. And you can't say, well, he's shorter than these other guys. I mean, the 212 guys, they're all shorter in stature, so it really shouldn't be that much of a factor. But,
he's got a nice shape though as well. He's got really nice round, full muscle bellies. He's kind of, you could imagine if he was like sort of 5'10", he'd be top 10 Open Olympia, because he's not lacking anything. He's got a beautiful readable bicep. I mean, he's so complete, and he's got those big full arms, and a nice tiny little waist, and he definitely brings an X factor, I think, to the 212, and he brings something different rather than kind of everyone kind of on the limit. And he can hang with any of these guys. I think he's he's a very impressive athlete.
Yeah, so he's somebody I wouldn't be surprised, again, if he peaks perfectly and a couple other guys don't. I could see him pulling ahead of some of the guys we've already been talking about easily.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. There's a few other guys, but those are definitely the main players. What about Milan? Milan, I see, just needs to fill out the upper body a little bit more to really hang with these top guys.
Well, I think this is going to be his last 212 show, because I've been talking through one of my contacts in Europe, and he said that this is absolutely Milan's last 212, and he really struggles to get down to 212, because apparently at his best he's like 230. He said, I can compete at 230. So now I think, though, if you're getting top 6 at the Olympia in the 212, why not just hang on for another year and just try and refine the physique? Do like what Sean Ray did. He kind of improved his physique every year at around 200, 205, and just kind of refine, because he's got beautiful balance. He's got a really, he's got a really nice fresh muscularity. Everything's cleanly separated. Yeah. And for me, he's got a very, very pleasing physique where he's top to bottom, every angle, everything kind of fits and flows. Yeah. Nothing really like freaks you out, like say Clarida's readable bicep, where everything's kind of popping and jumping, but everything looks. It's kind of a very clean sort of aesthetic kind of. I don't want to use the word healthy, but it's like a healthy. It's a pleasing look. Where, yeah. So yeah.
Well, I totally agree with you. I do think, when I've seen him compete this year, I just say, I look at him and see that this kid with another 10, 12 pounds of just fuller muscle, mostly in the upper body, I think he'd be a lot more dangerous, and that would knock him right out of the 212.
But he's got it. He's got that muscle. He actually loses that to get into the 212. So maybe he should just come back next year or into the year after as an Open, because I mean, he's still so young. So maybe he could go on and become a really, really impressive Open Pro. I'm sure he would. I mean, I think of like, say, Lucas Osladl, who the Open Pro got 5th last week in Prague, the Open Pro. He was a very good 212, and I was a bit disappointed when I heard he was moving up to Open. I was like, no, this guy is doing well as a 212. William Bonac was doing well as a 212, and so look at these guys that go from 212 to Open, and they look absolutely sensational. So maybe Milan's future, plus he can say, well, I've been top. He's certainly got the attention of the judges and of the industry by coming top 6 at the Olympia. So maybe he's made his mark on that, and now it is time to move up and flourish as an athlete.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've covered all the top front runners, the guys who are definitely going to be in. You got one more guy to talk about?
Yeah, this Mamuk Ermak. What happened with Mamuk Ermak? Because I saw him on the sheets last week as 10th. Now, I saw some pictures, and I find it very hard to believe that he was 10th. But I saw something where he wasn't on the original sheets. Was he actually 10th, or was he disqualified or something? Because I can't believe that he got last place in the 212 show. Because that guy some of the pictures I've seen, he's as good as he's ever been. And that guy he won the European Championships. I think it was 2012. He won it as a 75 kilo welterweight, and he won the overall. Now, these IFBB European and international shows are no joke. So, and we've seen him. I mean, he could have won the overall at Arnold the year we did it. Was 2013. And he's like 165, 170. So I find it very... So I'm interested to see how he's going to look as well, because it's not like he was off. And also there was Bola Ojax as well. It was a guy I did a photo shoot with at the Olympia in 2010. outside the in the pool and stuff. We did some really good shots. He's a Brit. Let me tell you a quick story about Bowler.
Sure.
Bowler in 2002, he did because he was living in the UK. He did a show, the Mansfield show, Paula Berkhamshaw's show. Now he won the intermediates, which is like the novice. And then he did the British, won the novice intermediate British championships. And then he did the British Grand Prix, the one that was Dexter Jackson's first pro win, 2002 British Grand Prix.
Wow.
And that was where they had an amateur show, and then the winner of the amateur got to compete with the pros. Now, Bowler won the amateur show there, and then an hour later was competing with Gunter Schlierkamp, Dexter Jackson. So he went from being like a novice 2 months previously, and then he actually had a call out with Gunter Schlierkamp.
Wow.
So, and that guy, that was, it's 2003 maybe. And that was the year, obviously, when, Gunter had just beat Ronnie the year before. So, yeah, so it's a nice little story there about someone that is, now he moved to America, I think 7-8 years ago. I think I bumped into him at the Orleans. Sorry, I bumped into him in Tampa.
Yeah.
And he's a nice aesthetic physique, but top 6, probably not. No.
Yeah, like we said, this is not a weak lineup. This is a very strong lineup for
crazy.
All these Grand Prix, these post Olympia shows, they don't typically have the most depth. It'll be 2, 3, 4 big names, and then it kind of falls off rapidly. This one we got a good 6, 7, 8 guys who are all really, really good, who've all won shows this year, or more than one show.
I bet Flex News is going to love watching this at home.
The time difference I've checked out, the judging will take place it's late Thursday night or early Friday morning, however you want to consider it, at 1 in the morning East Coast time here in the U.S., because I believe Kuwait is maybe 8 hours ahead of us. It's pretty far ahead of us. They're 8 hours ahead of East Coast of USA. So that'd be 11 hours ahead of Pacific.
3 hours.
3 hours ahead of you, still, yeah. So what time is that for you? 10 at night? 11 at night, 11, 12.
No, before. I'm before.
Okay. Yeah, my math is just, I've taken a lot of shit for my math. My math, it's not good in numbers. So, we'll see how it all shakes out. We don't have long to wait because, like we said, this show is happening on a Friday rather than a Saturday, which is kind of odd, but good for that. Good on them. So, good luck to all the competitors. Good luck to Baudelaire to have a really great show this year. And Giles Tiger Thomas, as always, I appreciate your insights, observations, dashing good looks, and cultured British accent. Yes, it does help.
Well, I'm off camping, mate. I'm off camping now.
All right. Well, say hello to the campers at Crystal Lake for me. Yeah. So for the Ronline report, he's going to get a machete. Don't worry. This is only temporary. This has been Ron Harris with Giles the Tiger Thomas.